Hey guys, it's Liz from Blue and Hazel. Welcome to my homeschool channel, and today's video I want to share with y'all what we're planning on using for my up and coming first grader this next year. So he's finishing up his kindergarten year, and I've kind of planned what we're going to use. We are pretty flexible, so if I need to make some changes, we will. We are also in a new situation this time around where I have older kids doing kind of other more advanced levels of subjects. So we have really not had that so far. And so there will be some things that I'm going to have to be a little bit more intentional about this coming year with my kindergartner, just to make sure that he gets some of those things that my older kids got. But I also admit that he's going to have a different homeschool experience than they have had, just because we are going to be using different things, and I will also be doing some things with my older kids that he will just be like soaking up because he's around. And so, yeah, it will look different than when I've done this before. If you are interested in seeing what I am specifically using for my upcoming third grader or my upcoming fourth grader, I will leave links to those videos below for you too. This video I mainly want to keep short, so I will just show you first grade stuff. So for reading, we will kind of continue on with Teach Your Child to Read in 100 Easy Lessons. So we started that this year in his kindergarten year. You can see we are probably about 2/3 the way through, and we will just continue on with the lessons. I've used this book for each of my kids to teach them how to read, and I kind of just am sticking with it because it works, and it's not like the greatest in all aspects, but it does really work. And they're not necessarily following it to a T. Like, I'm not reading each story 2 times through like it suggests you do. I feel like that would just make it really, really long, and it does get really boring when you do that too. So as far as like what we're doing differently, we are doing half lessons every time. So that helps to keep the lessons within 10 to 15 minutes instead of getting too long, because after that, I just lose his attention anyways. So we're taking a long time. I've probably taken about a full year to get through this book each time, and I think it's going to be about the same. So we'll continue this into his first grade year and throughout the summer. I do plan on taking a break for the summer. I think everybody just needs a break. I know I need a break, but the one thing that I do really want to try to do, maybe 5 minutes a day or 5 minutes most days, even during that break time, is this book, just because I've experienced taking longer amounts of time, 1-2 weeks off of it, and we always go backwards. And so I'm just hoping to at least stay at the same level as he is and move forward with reading. This is a kind of example if you're not familiar with this book. It starts off pretty easy in the beginning. Red words are words that you say, and you have some just basic sounds that you're learning. And then fairly quickly you get to kind of read their first sentences. It's like, a rat is in a sack. That rat is not sad. Like, they'll be reading that pretty soon. Then it picks up pretty quickly, and you can start to see here like the stories get a little longer and the words get a little bit smaller. So that's why we will be definitely doing half lessons as we go through this. So one thing that I've always kind of had a tricky time with is like, when you finish that book, what do you move to next? And with my oldest, we kind of just moved to like early level 1 readers at the library, and that worked fairly well. Really simple 1 sentence with a big picture on top, and then when that got too easy, 2 sentences or a paragraph, and then when that got too easy, bigger and bigger from there. But with my daughter, who came next, we ended up buying these really cute little readers from Dash Into Learning, and they come in 3 sets. So the first set is going to be 10 books and 1 line per page. Just give you an example in here. Kind of looks like that. Big old pictures inside, and lots of rhyming words and stuff. And then by the time you get to book 10 of that first set, you can see there's like a little bit, more to read on each page. I'm gonna go through these with my first grade boy, and I think that he'll really enjoy them. I mean, I got them for my daughter because they're very girly and cute, but I think the storyline and the pictures are great, and the progression through set 1 is just confidence building, because you can read the whole first book and then you pretty much can read the whole second, and it gradually gets longer and you just feel like you're reading a book. So I will take him through these, and you definitely don't need this as far as like, you could just go to the library and get readers there. However, since we have them and I do like them, we're gonna use them. I have a coupon code Blue and Hazel 20. If you decide to check these out, be sure to use that for some savings. If for some reason that is like, he flies through those, then we'll go to set 2 and set 3, because by the time you get to set 3, you know, there's a whole basically page full of sentences that they're reading. So that's my plan for reading, for him reading to me. And then I'm going to make it my effort during his first grade year to read to him a lot. And this is something that I'm just gonna have to be really intentional about, especially having older kids I'm homeschooling and having a toddler, because it's just really easy to like skip and forget about and get busy or tired. And so my goal is to really try to read to him 1 to 2 books every single day of some kind of picture book. So more would be better, but that would be like a victory to me if we're reading together on the couch each day. Because I notice the more I do that, the more he picks up books, the more he's looking at the pictures, probably sounding out some of the words himself. And so the nice thing about, you know, when we get in the pattern of reading books out loud is that you can do fun books, you can do silly books, you can do rhyming books, you can do history books that are made for, you know, that first grade level. You can do sciencey books that are made for that first grade level. I found some really, really good ones like that explain things, you know, about their world, but that are like fun and great pictures. So that is just a really awesome way to basically be learning but not feel like you're doing school. And if you need ideas for book lists, definitely Google like first grade book lists for whatever subject that you're looking for. There's a lot of great ones out there. I have also put together a big list in my Amazon storefront of like kindergarten picture books. You could also start there for ideas, and if you don't want to buy them, you can just check those out at your library. But there's just a really big, solid list that we will continue using into first grade. So it's not like, even though it's a kindergarten picture book list, it's totally great for older kids too. The next thing that we'll be doing in his first grade year is handwriting. And so we used the Handwriting Without Tears kindergarten orange book. It's kind of sideways. And then when he finishes that, we will be using this one here for first grade. It's called My Printing Book. I didn't buy any of the extra stuff besides the chalkboards. And so I didn't buy like Matman or the like wooden letter pieces where you build the letter or anything. But I do think the chalkboards are really important if you are new to the program, or if you are wanting to like really review how to write your letters and, you know, which line comes first and things like that. You get the chalk and the little sponge so that you can do the drawing and then the erasing of the letters. Since he really does already know the formation of his letters, we probably won't use these for first grade, but just wanted to mention that in case you are like wanting to review letter formation or just start Handwriting Without Tears for the first time. Just to show you like the inside of this book here, there will be letter review, there will be words, and also even some copy work, like doing sentence copy work here. So we will just kind of go through this pretty slowly. There's only like 90 pages or something, so not 1 page a day even for the handwriting. If we go faster, we'll just go to the next level, but generally, like, this is a nice 1 page a day thing here for us. For math, we will kind of keep on doing what we did this year with the same math curriculum, but the first grade level. So we use Math with Confidence kindergarten this year. And once he finishes that, we'll take a break and then we will jump into the first grade version. So it comes with 2 books, the Math with Confidence does. Here is the teacher's guide. It is thick. And this is like where all the magic is gonna happen. So the workbook is much thinner, and this is going to be where he does his worksheet, front page and back page every day after we do our hands-on lesson together. So this program is just like one of my favorites that I have seen. It develops such an amazing math sense, I think, and number sense, as far as it's going to be teaching the kids how to do mental math. It's going to be using 10 frames, manipulative pieces, and it's very, very similar in how it teaches math skills in the early years to Singapore math, which I use with my oldest. And so if you want to see kind of a comparison video of Singapore math and Math with Confidence, I actually have a video I made since we use both programs. And we have used the first grade level before with my daughter. She's in the second grade level now, and my son is finishing the kindergarten level right now. Basically every single day you're going to come into this teacher's guide here. The teacher's guide is the program. Like, this is where they're doing all the math games. This is where they are learning to visualize on the 10 frame. You'll come in here, you will do some kind of a warm-up like review, and we do skip this if I feel like, okay, that is just something I don't want to do today, we're good on that. Then we skip that to save some time. Sometimes I will pick out one or two things from the review to do. And then we move on to the lesson. It's scripted, which is one thing I really like, and it tells you exactly what to do in bold and what to say. And then there are pictures pretty much on every single lesson of how to lay stuff out. So you'll be able to see exactly how to put your counters on the 10 frame. It's just really helpful to have those visuals in the teacher's guide. And then yeah, all of the games come in here. They have the game boards in the back that you'll be using throughout. They have those 10 frames in the back and some tracing tools in the back. And then the few things that I will keep using that we already had for kindergarten Math with Confidence, and we have these like number cubes that have, these are really nice for when you're learning like 2 plus 8, you'll have 2 of one color, 8 of another. I also have these base 10 blocks here, and we use these a lot with like counting, using them as like 10 frame pieces, game pieces, things like that. So they have the individual pieces, these sets of 10, I have the hundreds, and then it comes with the thousands cube for later. But that's been really helpful to have for all levels of Math with Confidence. So one resource that I have created, and it's in my Etsy shop if you want this, but I've used it with all my kids in different math curriculums. It's just a homemade clock here, and I like it because there's always 1 or 2 chapters in every math curriculum covering time. We use this clock for those time chapters, and it has an hour hand, has a minute hand, and it's just connected with this brad piece right there on the back. And then you can write the time and make them find the time on the clock, or you can set the time on the clock and have them write it. But it's just kind of nice to have that manipulative piece. One more printout that I made that we have used a lot with my younger kiddos, and I will probably continue using into first grade. It's just numbers 1 through 10. It has big block letters, or it has the big numbers, and then I also have a page with smaller numbers, so he's been able to trace over those, and that's been really helpful because I found that Math with Confidence kindergarten level, the numbers just picked up too fast for his handwriting skills, and so I just had him skip writing the numbers, or I'd write them in the workbook for him, and so we went back and used the big number tracing worksheet. And then this is not really like official math time, but we love Life of Fred in our house, and I'm going to be reading through Life of Fred Apples, the very first one, with my first grader this year. But it's about this little boy named Fred. He's 5, and he teaches at Kittens University, and he has a doll named Kingy, and they go on these adventures, and it just brings in like a bunch of really like goofy, silly, real world math. And so I think it's fun to read out loud. There's like some problems that you can solve at the end of each chapter if you want to with the answers, but for the most part, it's just a really cool story, and there are definitely math concepts. Like, this is really, really well written. We will start this with him, and then my 3rd and 4th graders are going to be on the 5th and 6th books now, so we'll be reading through those as a read aloud with them. One other thing that we'll be using in first grade are math games, and I love math games. One nice thing about Math with Confidence is that it's 4 days a week, and so we have a 5th day for just kind of whatever we want to do. I'm going to be using math games. We used them this year in kindergarten with my son, especially when we needed to take a break from the curriculum that we were using. We had to take a little break. He just wasn't quite ready to move on, so we just did math games. And this first grade year, I want to keep doing those. And I don't have them in front of me, sorry for that, but if you have a paper and pencil, go ahead and write these down, and I will also link my math games store on Amazon for you, so you can browse those. But my favorite ones that we'll be using for first grade, Tiny Polka Dot definitely is probably my top choice, and that's a really versatile game we've used in kindergarten, first grade, and even 2nd grade. And it just has a bunch of different games, and it tells you like age 3 and plus, age 4 and plus, age 5 plus. So it goes all the way up to like age 7 or 8, I think. Basically, there's a bunch of different little games within this tiny box. The next game that we'll be using is called Math Magical World. It has smaller dice and bigger dice, and so you just roll the dice, you either add or subtract, and then you try to race to the end. We also have Sums in Space, which is pretty similar to that. It's like almost exactly the same board game actually, but it is this, you know, space looking background, and then it also works on evens and odds. And then Even Stevens Odd, and that is another dice game where each player gets 6 dice and they roll the dice and they do what the card tells them. So it might say like roll all evens or roll all odds, or it might show you like different combinations of numbers that you're racing to roll and try to you know, get those different combinations of numbers. And so they have easier cards and then they have harder cards, so you can use it with different ages. Like definitely could use the harder cards with my 2nd, 3rd, 4th grader, and the easier cards for like kindergarten, 1st grade. So we will kind of just be using that for like fun time, family time, math time. I don't quite know what you want to call it. It's just, you know, something that we can do together, not necessarily for math, but definitely reinforces math. So far we've covered reading, writing, math, and you might be wondering, what about science? What about history? And the reason that I'm not doing any formal history or any formal science for 1st grade, when I actually did kind of use a formal program for my oldest kid when he was this age. And then when my next kid came along, she just kind of followed in with my oldest, what he was listening to and being read to. And I think right at this point in time that I want my 1st grader to not worry about having more that he has to do, especially since I will be doing those subjects with my older kids, and we're using basically all read alouds for science and history with them. I know that my 1st grader is going to be around the corner playing with his toys. He's going to be listening. He'll be soaking some things in. Other things will be too over his head he won't care about, and so that's fine with me at this point. I'm just going to let him be a kid and play, and then as he is around and wants to hear and soak up what we are learning in science and what we are learning in history, then he can do that. Now, of course, if we do any experiments, he'll be part of that. When we do nature journaling, he has his own nature journal, he'll be part of that. They watch Wildcrats together all the time. He's learning tons of nature facts through that. And we are doing a nature study family style from 1,000 Hours Outside, that she has like these fun little units that you can, you know, they're like 2-3 weeks long or whatever. So he'll be doing that with us too. Okay, and then another thing that he does with us that I don't even really consider to be school, it's just kind of like our family life, is that we start the mornings with our morning time stuff, and that basically includes like a story from Egermeyer's Bible storybook. It includes a hymn from our hymn book that we sing together, just singing, nothing fancy at all. It includes a little bit of Bible memorization, and then we pull out one art card and we learn about what is on that art card. And so he's part of that with us, and I don't necessarily consider that school, but I thought I'd just throw that in there in case you know, want to start something like that or are wondering about that. So that basically sums up his 1st grade. We're going to do reading, writing, math. I'm going to read picture books to him. I will see what he's interested in. If he wants to learn more about something or get books about something, then we will probably just aim to get books on those types of subjects. For history and science, we're really doing nature study, and then he's going to follow along. If he's interested, he can be listening in on our America's history that we're working through, and then we will also be doing some picture book study at some point in the future from Beautiful Feet books all around the world in picture books. And so I'll do that family style, and when we get to that, he'll be part of that too. So I'm just really not worried about overly stuffing his day. I want to actually be intentional about doing the opposite to make sure he has enough time to just play and be a kid. And he's also, with his birthday, he would be on the younger end of 1st grade. And so just attention span wise and interest wise, he just, you know, needs a lot of time to wiggle and play and go be a kid. So hope this was helpful for you. If you want to check out what I'm using with my older kids, be sure to check out those videos. And I will also put links to all the things that I have talked about so far below for you to check out too. Please give this video a thumbs up if you enjoyed it, and be sure to subscribe for more homeschool videos as I make them.